Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the leader of the UK Independence Party. It's Gerard Batten.
Good afternoon, everybody. Tommy Robinson is a political prisoner. Now, whatever the legal technicalities of his alleged contempt of court, he was imprisoned more for who he is and what he says rather than what he is supposed to have done. It's not necessary to agree with everything he says. It's not necessary to approve of everything he does. But history will judge him as being on the right side of a struggle between good and evil. Tommy Robinson is an incredibly brave man who embarked on a heroic mission. Tommy stood up to expose the worst scandal in the history of England. The widespread, organised paedophile rape of little girls by organised gangs. The scandal that was ignored and brushed under the carpet by the authorities that were supposed to deal with it. Governments in this country and across Europe are now the enemies of their own people. They promote policies that are against the interests of their own people. Let me give you 3 quick examples. Brexit, number 1. The people of this country, after a 25-year struggle by Ukip, got the referendum. Against Project Fear and everything the political, media and international establishment could throw at them, they still voted to leave. And what's happened in the 2 years since? Nothing. We have Theresa the Appeaser, who doesn't want to leave and is doing everything she possibly can to make sure that it doesn't happen. They have betrayed their own people. Number 2, mass uncontrolled immigration. There is nothing wrong with moderate immigration, but what we've seen over the last 40 years, and especially in the last few years, has been a disaster for Britain. Millions of people have been flooded into our country, and now large parts of our country are enclaves of somewhere else. Mass immigration is a disaster. Our own political class have betrayed the British people. Now the third example is Islamisation. A literalist interpretation of the Mohammedan cult is completely alien to everything our country stands for and our traditional way of life. And yet, instead of opposing Islamisation, our government is submitting and surrendering to it. They have betrayed the British people. Now, Islam means submission. You either submit or you resist. Are you going to submit? No! Are you going to resist? No! I kind of thought that's what you were going to say. The political establishment can be defeated. Ukip spent 25 years working for the referendum. Ukip secured the referendum and won the referendum. But that was an historic victory for the British people. It was an historic victory for the British people. But the job is far from finished. We're nowhere nearer leaving the European Union than we were on the 24th of June 2016. Now, it's great to see you all here. I don't know how many thousands of people there are stretching all the way back to Trafalgar Square. But you can have Thank you. Now, thank you very much. But let me finish off. It's great to all see you here in your thousands. But let me tell you that the politicians can ignore marches, they can ignore demonstrations. The one thing that they cannot ignore is the loss of votes at the ballot box. If you want to have a long-term lasting effect, then you have to organise politically. And we know in Ukip because we did it and we made it work. Now I know that I'm biased, but I want you to join, support and vote Ukip. Only when you take votes away from the politicians in Westminster, only when you threaten them on their own terms by losing them their jobs will you make any difference. Now, under my leadership, Ukip will do all it can to ensure Tommy Robinson's safety while he's in prison. My Ukip colleague, the peer, Malcolm Lord Pearson, has already written to the Home Secretary saying that if any harm befalls Tommy Robinson while he's in prison, then Lord Pearson will take out a private prosecution against the Home Secretary. We will hold Mr. Javid personally responsible and take him to court. Lord Pearson will also put questions in the House of Lords about Tommy's whereabouts and his safety going forward. But we don't want just to keep Tommy safe in prison. We want Tommy released as soon as possible.